What's good, y'all? So I haven't shared this topic yet, but this is a huge topic that's going to change the landscape of college sports. And it's something that I've been talking about ever since I played college ball about 15 years ago. So, according to ESPN, judge okays $2.8 billion settlement paving the way for colleges to pay athletes. So this is an antitrust settlement that will change the college football landscape forever. Basically, in short, this means colleges can directly pay players through licensing deals, a concept that goes against the foundation of amateurism, which I talked about, that college sports was built on. So this lawsuit was brought on by Grant House, who was a former Arizona State swimmer. He sued the defendants, the NCAA, in the 5 biggest athletic conferences. His lawsuit and 2 others were combined, and over several years, the dispute wound up with the settlement that ends a decade-old prohibition on schools cutting checks directly to athletes. Now each school will be able to make payments to athletes for the use of their name, image, and likeness, NIL. For reference, there are nearly 200,000 athletes, 350 schools in the Division I alone, and 500,000 and 1,100 schools across the entire NCAA. So how much will the schools pay the athletes, and where will the money come from? In year 1, each school can share up to about $20.5 million with their athletes, a number that represents 22% of their revenue from the things like media rights, ticket sales, and sponsorships. So here's information about scholarships. What about scholarships? Wasn't that like paying the athletes? Scholarships and the cost of attendance have always been part of the deal for many Division I athletes, and there is certainly value in that, especially if athletes get their degree. The NCAA says its member schools hand out nearly $4 billion in athletic scholarships every year, but athletes have long argued that it was hardly enough to compensate them for the millions of dollars in revenue they helped produce for the schools, which went to a lot of places, including multi-million-dollar coaching salaries, and they took argument in court and won. NIL also didn't start until 2021. So, I played from 2008 to 2013. I watched my school. We weren't a major, we weren't in the top 5, Power 5. We were in the Mid-American Conference, the MAC. And so I watched my team go from a losing record and not selling out, games to, I think we sold out almost every game, every home game we played. From like 2009 to 2013. We had one of the winningest records. My senior class had one of the winningest records in school history. We had multiple guys go to the NFL. We won multiple big win games. We played on ESPN like 12, 13 times. We went viral on YouTube. Like, we did a lot. And we were in a small town. So, you think about the economic impact that we had on that small town and the region and the state of Ohio. And it was the first university to state. Well, me as a player, I was an All-American. My parents, middle class. So I was getting a little bit of money, extra money, but a lot of people don't understand the scholarship covers your room and board. So you don't see the scholarship check, actually. You never see any money until typically after your first 2 years. First 2 years, you typically have to stay on campus, which your scholarship pays for, your dorm, which pays for your books and your classes. So, and then you have food hall. So you don't have any just extra money to go buy clothes or to go take your girl out on a date to a restaurant or go to the mall and go shopping. Like pre-NIL, you didn't have an extra bag unless somebody was giving you an extra bag. So when I was playing, a lot of my teammates that came from rougher areas, maybe had children back home, they would send their Pell Grant check back home. Or they would send part of their scholarship check back home to help their mom pay for utilities, rent, groceries, whatever. And so here it is, people thinking oh, you're a big scholarship athlete, you play on ESPN, you got all these followers, you're this big celebrity. Whole time, these niggas is going back home hungry, and family can't come to games because who can afford to travel, to 10, 12 games in a state that you don't live in? So a lot of people behind the scenes don't really understand what's going, they don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes with these athletes. And so they just think, oh my God, their life is amazing. They get all the girls, they get everything that they want. But these people also have a reality, they have a family. And a lot of times these athletes are the breadwinners of their family. You know what I mean? And so, again, you're on the biggest stage in the world. Everybody else is a professional. The coaches are professionals. The referees are professionals. The AD is a professional. The president of the university. Whole time, the athletes are bringing in more bread than everybody because they're the most marketable thing on campus. So they should be making hella bread because at the end of the day, I'm 10 miles away from Ohio State. We know Jeremiah Smith. I probably couldn't even tell you to half their coaching staff, but we know Jeremiah Smith. All the kids know Jeremiah Smith, so you don't think he should be compensated for that? Handsomely? Come on. So this one, what about players who played before NIL was allowed? A key component of the settlement is the $2.7 billion in back pay going to athletes who competed between 2016 and 2024 and were either fully or partially shut out of those payments under previous NCAA rules. That money will come from the NCAA and its conferences. So to all the athletes like myself, after 2020 or before 2020 or 2016, you on your own, player. You know what I mean? So these are conversations that I like to have because again, like I might have to sue my university. I might have to sue the MAC conference because, bro, All-American, 3-time starter, like these healthcare bills ain't cheap. But it's cool to see, man. I've already been a part of one lawsuit with the NCAA EA Sports video game a few years back. I got a few grand for that, which was cool. You know what I mean? Like, to me, you know, I played for the love of the game. I played for the scholarship. Most people, you don't know how much money being made until you get there and you see the machine and you like, no, nigga, like, what? What? And then the amount of pressure you under, you still got school. You still got to stay eligible. You know, you still got to stay out of trouble and niggas is going to test you. You know what I mean? I need to be compensated for what we did, bro. And then who will get the most money? Because football and men's basketball are primary revenue drivers at most schools, and that money helps fund all the other sports, it stands to reason that the football and basketball players will get the most money. But that is one of the most difficult calculations for the schools to make. So let me know what y'all think. Obviously, this isn't the end. This just opens up Pandora's box, for sure. So people don't even understand, like, private equity hasn't gotten involved in college sports yet. So, you know, this is going to have a huge impact on the NFL. It's going to have a huge impact on the NBA. And just American culture and how we know it. But again, we have to evolve, right? There's all change is constant. So I'm interested to see what the next 5 to 10 years looks like. I'm interested to keep sharing my thoughts and opinions on it as a former Division I athlete, as somebody that's been in the space, been around the space. I have friends that are still, you know, coaching or in administration. Or in the business side of things. So I'm very much so interested in seeing, like, I've been calling it for a long time and a lot of people didn't believe me. A lot of people thought I was crazy. But I actually was making money before I got to college as a signed model and actor. And so I actually had to stop making money as a signed model and actor so I wouldn't breach the NCAA rules back then, because you couldn't be a professional, considered a professional, and being paid and also get a scholarship. So, you know, my mindset was already like, yo, I was already making money off of my name, image, and likeness for being a model. Whole time I'm on this big stage as a football player and I can't profit off of my name, image, and likeness whole time. You know, like, my parents got divorced in school. Like, niggas wasn't really rocking like that, you know? So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, especially as a young man, when you have thoughts and ideas and real life experience and people shit on you low key and people don't respect your viewpoints. And, you know, I definitely felt the type of way. So I'm glad to see what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen with me, but I'm definitely about to, you know, talk about it.